Thank you very much. I was reminded. Is this working? Yeah. It was great to listen to Brian. Thank you for your welcome here. When he spoke about the integrity and the love, I think I have to go back to that when I came with my wife to Ashraf, the summer of 2005. And I would say especially her experience. We had been married for 5 months. When we went there, my father was crying when he understood we are going on a honeymoon to Iraq, where he saw car bombs and suiciders almost every day. So he was shocked. But my wife said after the 2 first days in Ashraf, to me, I have never experienced such love. Never, ever. And in a way, Brian, you just know it when you meet these people. It's people of integrity and love. It's completely the opposite of Iran, the regime in Iran, which is a regime of evil and lies, to make it very simple. And we have come really a long way. And the most impressive thought for me is this. Here we have a small group, I'm thinking of the leadership of this movement, that are so committed and so full of conviction that they can stand up against all the superpowers of the world. The combination of Russia with Iran, United States and Europe, all the countries in the world has condemned this movement as terrorists, as a horrible cult. But when you know that you are doing the right thing, you can actually stand up against all the powers of the world and prevail and be the winners. And that is what we see today. Because now the situation is reversed. It's reversed. Now the MOIS is on the terror list of the EU Commission. The Revolutionary Guard is on the blacklist. MEK is free of all of this. The amazing thing is that I went to Alistair Burt in the Foreign Office in London twice because he's an old friend. And he sat there with 2 diplomats who had all this documentation that actually, yes, we know that they are now free from everything through the court cases. But we know that they are terrorists. Just listen to these 2 diplomats. And they came up with some old stories produced in the Department of Hypocrisy in the MOIS in Tehran. Some old, very well-known stories that did not be sustainable in the court. Because actually the British Supreme Court wrote, when they understood that all the evidence that came from the government was false, shame on the British government, that they believed all the rubbish coming out of Tehran. So we have come a long way. And now we see that actually the sanctions are working. Oil production is collapsing, the economy is collapsing, the foreign companies are leaving Iran, inflation is going up, unemployment is going up, and the Iranian currency went down 2/3 of the first 9 months last year. And it's continuing to go down faster than Titanic. So it's something that works. And actually, I found a statement from the CSIC, the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, D.C., that have studied the U.S. sanctions and their impact. And they conclude like this: U.S. sanctions have been an effective foreign policy tool precisely because of dollar centrality in international finance and trade, especially when like-minded countries are willing to participate as partners in taking multilateral action. So the sanctions are working now. And we should be thankful to the commitment now from the US government. Of course, when it comes to the nuclear deal, there was recently a meeting where Germany, France, and the UK, they are trying to save the deal. But it's interesting that in September, Netanyahu presented evidence in the United Nations General Assembly that there was a warehouse in Tehran full of radioactive material. And the Iranian government, of course, said immediately, no, 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 we are dealing with scrap metal in that building. It's no radioactivity. And the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, they have this special rule, so they had to wait a long time. But after 10 months, I think 3 days ago, 10 months after, the inspectors found that the Iranian government had been lying. And they found radioactive material in this warehouse in Tehran. So we get evidence after evidence that the Iranian government, they are lying. And that's almost everything they have left now. It's the lies. So now we see a massive campaign, for instance, in my city, Oslo, where Iranian agents are going to politicians, present themselves as refugees or former members of the PMOI, or they go to the journalists. And only a couple of weeks ago, there was presented 13 pages in the shipping newspaper Oslo, false information about the PMOI. So this is a desperate attempt from the Iranian regime. But we know that the truth is prevailing. The truth will win in the end. And we can see now that we have a fantastic result of the commitment and the conviction of the leadership of this movement through Madam Rajavi. And I'm amazed to see this city, and I'm amazed to be part of this movement. I always say I'm a member. I am a member. I think it is probably a very complicated application system to become a member of the MAK, but I always say I am a member. I will always be.